Hi, my name is Renee, and I am making this video for anyone who has trigeminal neuralgia or has somebody that they love that has trigeminal neuralgia. Just to tell you my story and hopefully give you some advice and help you to survive this, as it is something that you do have to survive. It's a fight, it's a struggle. I'll start at the beginning. In April of 2003, I had a head trauma, very serious head trauma, and about 2 weeks after that, I began to be feeling toothache on that same side. But it was a weird toothache. Sometimes it felt like it was on my top teeth, sometimes it felt like it was the bottom. And it was weird. So I made an appointment, and within like a couple weeks, I got into the dentist, and she said, "No, there's nothing wrong. Your teeth look good." And I told her that's impossible. I'm feeling the pain right now. And she said, maybe go see a neurologist and see what they say. So I did. I went to see a neurologist and had an MRI, and they said, you have trigeminal neuralgia. Because by then it wasn't just my teeth. I was having like lightning, like electricity, like somebody's touching my face with an electric wire that would run up my nose and to my eye, the bridge of my nose, and also like an ice pick going through my ear. I was in tears, incapacitated. It was terrible. So they gave me Neurontin and a couple other medications, Trileptal, and through the years we would, take one off, put one on, and it took like a combination lock trying to find the right thing. When I did leave the neurologist that day, of course, I never heard of it, so I went home and I did the stupid thing of Googling it. And when you Google it, it's scary. It says that it's the most excruciating condition known to mankind. In fact, you can put in right now, what is the most excruciating condition known to mankind? And it will tell you trigeminal neuralgia. Nothing else comes up. Scary. The other thing, which was very disheartening, was it said that many people call it the suicide disease or suicide condition, and that's because people who get trigeminal neuralgia, half of them kill themselves within the first 2 years, and some after. I can understand that. If I didn't have my children and my faith, it's possible that could have been me. But because it takes time to get the meds where they should be, and it's a very hard process to fight through. It's not like your leg hurts or your hand. You can kind of disassociate from that. When it's your face, it's almost like you can't escape the pain. It's like it's you. It's hard to explain to somebody else who hasn't had trigeminal neuralgia how incredibly severe it is and how it's worse than any other pain you can imagine because it's in your face. But it is. And I had tried things like acupuncture, and that gave me relief for about a month, and I would go every week. But after a month, it just stopped working for me. And I tried hypnosis. Hypnosis is a good tool to have in your arsenal. For instance, Michael Seeley is a creator on YouTube, and he has a pain and sleep hypnosis that I listen to a lot of times at night when I'm in pain. And it helps bring your breathing down. And honestly, when you're in a lot of pain and almost like hyperventilating, that makes your nerves fire even more. So the more you can relax, the more you can get the pain to subside a bit. So the hypnosis and going through what he's saying as he's talking, it helps me so much. And I'll try to, if I can, I'll link it below so you can see it for yourself. Okay, so the surgeries that I've tried. I first did the gamma radiation. It's they put a frame on your head. They kind of screw it right into your skull to keep you still while you're in the machine. It's almost like an MRI. It's a very small chamber. And they put gamma radiation right to the base of your brain stem. And that did nothing for me. Nothing. It didn't help at all. Not that it won't work for you. I'm just telling you what I have gone through, what I've had, and what my results were. It's always different for everyone, and you have to try everything if you want to make it through this. Everything. Then the next thing I tried about 6 months later was a microvascular decompression. And with that, they put a small incision kind of right below your ear on the side of your pain, and they go in with a little scope, and they'll put Teflon at all the contact points of the arteries and where the nerves and the arteries are connecting, because that's what's happening. They've connected, and it takes 2 weeks. That's why it was 2 weeks after my injury that I got the pain. It takes 2 weeks to rub the protective coating off the nerve to get to the nerve itself, and that's when the damage is. That's when it starts to send out that pain signal to your brain because of that contact and the coating being gone off that nerve. So the Teflon is supposed to help stop that from happening. When she went in, though, she did try to do as much as she could, but when I got out of surgery, she said, you know, were you in a car accident? What happened? Everything in your face is slammed to the side, and it's all tangled. All your nerves and arteries are just tangled up. It's a mess. And yeah, you know, I had the head trauma. So it didn't work for me. And in fact, it made it worse. It really did. And it killed any feeling in this eye, and now all these years later, it's an incredibly dry eye. I'm always having to see a doctor. They wanted to sew it closed. I wouldn't let them because the heat, the air conditioning, it all bothers it. I always have to use drops and Restasis and salve. It's constant. It gets irritated so quickly, and I have to try to protect it. And the fact that it has no feeling, if I got anything in my eye, I wouldn't even know it. So if I'm ever in an accident or anything, they have to really check my eye because I could have glass in it and I wouldn't know. So going on from that, so that didn't work. That had about a 50-50 shot. And then the next thing I had done was a spinal stimulator. And I only had that done because the insurance said I had to do that before I could get a motor cortex brain stimulator. Now, the spinal stimulator, the battery goes in your hip, and the lead runs up your back, and then there's a stimulator here at the base of your brain, and it kind of feels like, if you know what a TENS unit is, like a chiropractor, it feels like a TENS unit in your jaw, just kind of moving, and it's so peripheral. It didn't help my pain. You know, it just didn't do anything for me. A couple years later, I had it removed, and we went on to the motor cortex brain stimulator, which is what I wanted. I had flown out to Arizona's Mayo Clinic, and I had seen Dr. Zimmerman. He's a trigeminal neuralgia specialist who knows everything about trigeminal neuralgia at the Mayo Clinic in Arizona and Phoenix. And years ago, I had seen him before this surgery, and he had said the only thing he thought that could help me was the motor cortex brain stimulator because of how severe the condition was for me. So now finally, because then it was experimental when he had told me that, and it was only for people with Parkinson's. But now, all these years later, it was usable, so I was getting that done. To have it done, I went into the hospital. They first try it for a day or two without totally implanting it. You know, they have an exterior battery, and they shave your head. Usually half of your hair is shaved. Ladies, it's not wonderful, and but you do anything to get rid of the pain, you know it. And it was 37 staples. It was kind of an S on my head, and it's the opposite side of your pain. So they take 6 paddles and they sew it on top of your brain, and then they put your skull back together and the 37 staples. If it works, then they implant the battery. You know, if you feel like you have relief. The battery lasts 9 years, and then you have to have it replaced. I just had a replacement last year, and it's a much better battery. It's a little bit smaller. I don't know, can you see? If you can see that, that's the battery right there. But it's a new battery, this one. Before, if I wanted to program it or anything, I had to hold a patch, like an antenna to it, and then I would change it. Now it's wireless. I can just hold it, and it talks to my battery that way, and I can go up or down. And then I also charge it by having that little battery charger. It's like a pad that you hold to it, and then you can also charge it cordless. So you could walk around and hold this little gizmo, and you can be moving around and still charge it. You're not stuck in one place like it used to be. And instead of taking 3 hours to charge the whole battery, it takes about an hour. So it's way better. And so I had that done, and I had it done in November of 2012. And it was wonderful right out the gate. You know, he put it in, and then once he came in and kept programming it, and it wasn't like the TENS unit where it felt like that. It didn't feel like anything was in my face. All I felt when he programmed it was the pain just subsiding. It was unbelievable. It didn't feel like anything at all, just like the pain was diminished. And it was wonderful. So that was done in November in Chicago, and that's my worst time. And I went all the way to May with only not even hardly any of my meds. I went from like 400 milligrams to 100 milligrams overnight my main medication, and I felt fabulous in the Chicago winter, which that's saying something. And I was very happy. And then that May, I went to bed and my husband turned off the light. 2% of people get a seizure from this, and me, yes. So I had a grand mal seizure, and of course scared my husband to death. He thought I was dying, so did I. And he called 911. They came and got me and went to the ER, and I had another seizure in the ER. And then in the morning they told me, it's your stimulator. So they turned it off. But I started taking Dilantin and just a couple hundred milligrams, and I went to go see my doctor like 4 months later, and he was going to turn it back on. And so that was Northwestern in Chicago, Dr. Rose now. He's a wonderful surgeon, like number 5 in the whole country. You know, he's just fabulous. He's just great too to work with. But so he turned it back on in his office there in Chicago. And as soon as he turned it on, he brought it to 4 instead of, I had 5 megahertz is what I was set on when I had the seizure. So he put it to 4 and he turned it back on. And I noticed my speech slurred a little bit. He didn't notice it, but I did. And I thought, well, when I get home, I'm going to put it down a little bit. I didn't have a chance. I had another seizure in his office, you know, and I could hear him saying, I'm here for you, Renee, I'm here for you, as I was passing out, you know, going with the seizure. And it wasn't long, and I was back conscious again, and he said, we'll never do it in the office again. From now on, you need to be admitted when we're programming you. And we did. We programmed. I was admitted to the epilepsy ward there, and we did my programming, and it was great. You know, and I'm on 500 milligrams now, and I can go up to 4 because I'm on 500 milligrams, and I had to take calcium, about 1,000 a day, because that high of a level of Dilantin is a little bit toxic and can disrupt your bones and your teeth and things, so you need to really be, you know, vigilant with the calcium. Anyway, it worked really well, but at 400, I was right back up to where my meds were, but it was just like a better quality of life, you know. And still, as time was going by, it was getting worse. And then we had the war on pain patients, where, you know, they want to take everybody's opiates, and my doctor dumped me on a dime, just dumped me. He didn't want to take care of any pain patients anymore that were long-term because he was scared, you know. So I lost him, and I was so blessed that the pain clinic at Northwestern Hospital downtown, where I had done all my surgeries, they were willing to take me in because being that I had the stimulator and I'm on blood thinner for other medical reasons, no one wants to touch me from a pain clinic. And my level of meds that I take, they just don't want to have part of me because I've tried other places. So God was good, and I had this one right away. It was such a blessing. And so I go there, but it's gotten worse, you know. It was just like, it just got terrible. So the last 3 years that I was in Illinois, as I was saying, it was progressively getting worse. And every February, the last 3 Februaries, for some reason in February, I was always hospitalized for like 5 days. And because I would go to the hospital for breakthrough pain, and they would help me, you know, give me a shot or something to just stop the freight train. You have to always be in front of the pain. If you get behind it, it's bad. So Februarys were always bad. And that very last February, I was admitted. My doctor from the pain clinic there came in. It wasn't the one downtown. It was a different pain clinic that was affiliated with the hospital that I was admitted to. But he came down, and he said, Renee, I've looked at your chart. You have had every procedure, every surgery. You're on the highest legal dose of anything we can give you. There's really nothing more that can be done. And at this point, as you get used to the meds, they're not going to work as well. And the pain is just going to keep increasing. And he taps me on the shoulder as he's about to leave the room, and he said, "This is why it's called the suicide disease." And he just walks out. I just started to cry. I was like, "That's it. He's saying I'm done. That's all that's left." And it was upsetting, you know. And I talked to my family, and I let them know that I don't know what I'm gonna do. Because it's hard for people that don't have TN to understand, but when your pain starts in fall, and you're in pain every single day, you know, all through, you know, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, you know, and May it's still a little rainy, so you've got like, you know, 7-8 months of solid pain, and it builds, you know, and it's driving you up a wall, and even your mental condition isn't right because you can't even think when you're in that much pain, you know, and it drives you to things that you normally wouldn't even consider. And I was in a dark place, you know, and my family understood, and they knew that they couldn't ask me to keep enduring the pain. And they were very upset, though, about my decision to not want to be in pain any longer, you know, and after this summer, you know, I didn't want to do the pain anymore. I was so blessed, though, because my daughter and my husband talked, and we got me a new place to live most of the year. I live in the Southwest in a dry, warm place, and I come here in about September or October, you know, depending on the weather. And then I leave here like June or July. And then I go home to Chicago to be with my husband and my son. My daughter did move out here, so I see her while I'm here, and it's nice because I have at least some family here. My husband, his work is there, and they don't have that kind of manufacturing here. Plus, he wouldn't make what he makes there here. So until he retires in the next 4 years or so, he has to be there. So we just video chat every day, every night. And he comes in and flies in on weekends, especially long weekends. You know, if he has a holiday, he'll fly in. And that's nice, you know, and he helps me fix the place up as I'm rehabbing it the way I want it. But so, you know, we have 2 homes, 2 households, and that saved my life. And I thank God, and I thank my husband for that. They both love me enough to want me to be okay. And here in this climate, I am so good. You know, sometimes I'll say to my husband, "Oh, my nose hurts so bad in my teeth." And he'll say, "Well, did you charge your battery?" And I'll check, and sure enough, I forgot to charge the battery. It's dead. And that's why I can tell that the stimulator's helping too. It's not just the weather. The two combined have really made my life normal again, where I can have friends and go out to lunch and make plans. You know, when you have TN, you can't even make plans because you don't know how you're going to feel tomorrow, if you can even go out. You know, nobody understands that you just can't be like normal people and make plans and do things, you know. But here I can. I actually can. And I can keep my house clean here because I feel good, you know. Back home in Illinois, my husband was working full time, coming home and doing almost all the housework because I was just so debilitated, you know. And not just the pain and the meds too. They just you can't even do anything, you know. But here I can take care of my home here, and it feels good, you know. So I just wanted to tell you that, and the other thing I wanted to say is that I was watching YouTube like 2 days ago, and I saw a commercial, and it was a gentleman who had put his hand through a glass plate patio door by accident. I forget how it happened, but you could see his arm. He had a big scar here, and he talked about how his doctor had done a nerve graft. They took a nerve out of his leg that isn't really used, and they grafted it in to help the damaged nerve. I've heard of skin grafts. I never heard of nerve grafts, so this is very interesting to me. So who knows? We could be on the cusp of having a cure for TN. I took down the information for the doctor, and there's one in Chicago, and I'm going to find out about this nerve graft. And even if we aren't there yet, where it could be applied to TN, well, the motor cortex stimulator wasn't meant for TN either. But look, it works for me. It's not just for Parkinson's. This nerve graft could be everything. It could be the beginning to the end of trigeminal neuralgia, not just managing it or maintaining. Done. We could be done. So we're right on the cusp. So who is ever watching this that is on the edge, don't give up, because we could be incredibly close to just having a cure for this and being done. You know, that nerve graft was very, very impressive to me. And I have a huge amount of hope now, you know, just from hearing that. So I wanted to give that little tidbit to you also, if you've hung on long enough to hear this. So I just want you to know that there are other people. You can go to Facebook. There are support groups for trigeminal neuralgia. A lot of other women and some men have this, and they're on there. And they have their own stories, different medicines they've tried. We all talk. It's so informative. I've learned so much from them. Oh, I also use CBD, the TH ointments. Sometimes when my nose hurts or my skin, that works really good for the topical pain. If you join the support groups, a lot of women have a lot of other ideas. It also is just so helpful to be with other people who are going through what you're going through. Because as much as your family loves you, they don't have this pain. They honestly, as much as they try to understand, they really can't, not fully, because they have no idea how severe this is, you know, and how hard this is, and how debilitating this is, and the anxiety that comes from it, and all the other things. You know, it's a hard thing. And it's nice to be around other people who really know that and who are totally empathetic to what you're going through. So there's also that, the support groups on Facebook. I highly recommend that. That's really all I have to say. That's my journey of 18 years with TN. I hope something in there can help you, you know, the bits and pieces. You have to just be your own advocate and constantly be searching and fighting for the next good thing. And don't ever give up. Never. We're too close. We're too close to an end to this for you to give up. All right, well, I pray that you all, you know, find your path that leads you to freedom from TN. I love you all, and you have a wonderful evening. Thank you. Bye.